Hello and welcome to the Furreal podcast, the show that discusses music, film, and most importantly, furries. I'm your host Matthew, also known as Matty Feels Rough, and for the second episode of our second season, I've got my good friend Jess, also known as Raining Coyotes on Twitter. Hi Jess, welcome to the show.
Hello.
We're just going to pretend like we didn't just sit here for the last 30 seconds, just creasing in,
just chatting shit.
Trying to be quiet while we're setting up. No, we'll start. I'm in a good mood today. I've had a few flumpy days even. I've been trying to do freelance editing work, and it's been hard to kind of stay on track, but I'm fine now. I've been doing some work, and I was watching the film choice again, and it's a bit of a mindfuck, and I'm really excited to talk about it, which we'll talk about at a later point. But how's your day been? What have you done?
I went to some charity shops. Love that. I went to Starbucks because I never get fancy coffee because I always think it's overpriced. But I walked past it today and they had some cute cups, and I was like, I want a cup. So I went in and I got a cup and a coffee, and that is why I now have so much energy.
This is my third coffee of the day, so I'm exactly the same. But are you the kind of person that goes into a Starbucks and says, can I get a Scrimblow Blimblow with extra sauce and shit like that? Or are you just can I have this one, please?
Well, I never go into Starbucks, so I kind of was a bit overwhelmed by the size of the menu. But I was with my boyfriend, and he went. He worked in America recently, he was there for a few weeks, and he literally went to Starbucks every single day. So he knows so much. And he went in and he's like, can I order the coconut water pink drink, please? And the pinkest, most feminine drink comes out. It's pink and it's got strawberries in it. That rocks.
I love that. I love that so much.
And he was just holding it, and he's got no shame. He's like, this is the most feminine drink, but it tastes so good. And I was just like, can I have iced coffee, please? Just an iced coffee.
The thing is with me, it's whenever I go somewhere like Starbucks, I'll just get something equivalent to a fucking milkshake. It'll just be a cookies and cream 5,000 calories thing. But I recently have been getting into coffee a bit. I do French press my coffee because I'm pretentious film grad, so
God.
But I only drink my coffee black, and that is the most fucking pretentious cunt thing ever. But I do it because I don't give a shit. It's nice. I own it. I'm drinking a one from Oozburn at the moment, which is a local one that I get from the market where I live.
Jesus.
So it's very nice.
That is so nice. Hipster. It's not even
what can I say?
It's not even supermarket coffee. It's I get mine from the market. It's organic.
No, so the first time I had to buy French press coffee was there was nowhere that stocked it. So I had to go to Waitrose, and I was I just didn't like it. I felt very Tory. I didn't really like it.
Oh, I thought you meant you tried the coffee, but Waitrose coffee wasn't good enough.
No. It was the only place that it was the only place that stocked ground coffee or something around where I lived, because the Morrisons didn't or something. And I was just okay.
No, I know nothing about coffee at all. Instant coffee. I'm happy with that,
Yeah. I think I should make a coffee podcast instead, it'd be crazy. Instead of a furry one. I haven't done anything apart from do editing work and watch the thingy. I mean, I got up today and I was I'm going to put this fire-ass outfit on. And I didn't even fucking go outside. So I'm
seriously?
Sometimes I do that though. I'm just I'm going to have this really nice outfit, but I'm just editing all day. I'm not even going outside, man.
Honestly, that outfit, I saw it on Twitter. I was I messaged you. I was like, where'd you get that jumper? Yeah. I need that jumper. But vintage stuff, I hate how you can't buy it more than once. But
it's nice to be sustainable.
We love a sustainable queen. We love it.
We do. Shout out to 8 Ball Custom Vintage. My friend Keandra has her own brand. If you want to check it out, they have a Depop and Instagram page. So if you guys want to check that out, that's where I got the jumper. But unfortunately, it is a one-of-a-kind homemade 80s jumper. So you cannot get the jumper. But you can get some of the cool stuff that's on there. Anyway, we've had 6 minutes of chatting shit.
I'm so sorry.
So let's get right into it. No, don't apologize. This is the best way to start a podcast. It's going to be fucking chill. It's going to be bass. We're going to love this, all right? So introduce yourself. and what kind of stuff you do or did, and we'll get onto that, and like how you started being a furry and stuff like that. This is your episode, your time to shine. Go for it.
Ooh, okay. I was thinking about this today. So turns out, I mean, it's not a surprise. Like, I knew this, but I've been a furry for like, I'm not good at maths, since 2011. So like 10, not more than 10 years. What's on maths?
Wait, so 2010?
11 years. There we go.
Yeah. Wait, no. Since 2010, did you say?
2011.
2011. Yeah, so it'd be 11 years.
Oh my god, I'm so bad.
I'm not gonna lie, I was checking my fucking levels, so I was zoned out as well, so we're fine. So don't worry about it, and we're both just, Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so I've been furry for like ages, it seems. So I found the fandom when I was 11, because I was like, in the wolf phase, because everyone...
Yeah, of course.
We all go through the wolf phase, so I was like, I fucking love wolves, they're so sick, like... I want to be a wolf. Like, it actually, no, here's the first furry stuff that ever happened in my life was me when I was like 4. My mum got me this, like, I love dressing up, like, that was just my thing. Yeah. And she got me this Dalmatian costume, and it was like a full body, like, fake fur Dalmatian costume. Oh my God. With like a tail, like a hood with ears. And I kid you not, I wore this everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, I mean like the supermarket, like just on a walk, like any occasion we went to, I would just wear this Dalmatian costume everywhere. Like, I would never take this off. So
what's your like fucking dotting around Sainsbury's and your mom's like, can you pick out some stuff for packed lunches? And you're like running on all fours down the cheese aisle, just like...
I'm like barking at people. So I think that was like the earliest kind of hint that something was up there,
Yeah,
something's not quite right there. So come the age of 11, I was like, yo, I want to be a wolf or something like that. So I just kind of googled wolf costume, because I still liked costumes. I think they're pretty sick, like in general, theatre, like anything, costumes are really sick. So I googled it and I found this fursuit maker called Beast Cub, and she makes super, super realistic like wolf quad suits and like fursuits, and I was like, yo, this is sick, like I want to be a wolf. So nice. Obviously, continue a few days later after googling like the crap out of all these wolf costumes, I was like, oh my god, I'm not the only one, like there are other people that want to be wolves. So I was 11, so I was like, yep.
There's a whole online sphere of people who want to be wolves. It's crazy.
It was insane. I was like, this is it, man. But then I was like, I was 11, and then I was like, why is everyone else in this fandom like not also 11? Like, why is everyone like, why is everyone grown people? But like, I was like, yeah, I want a fursuit. So literally like maybe a week after, this is such an awkward story. So like a week after I found the fandom, and I was like, I'm getting a fursuit. Like, it was literally a week, and I was like, I want a fursuit. Like, I'm ready.
But like a week in, so you find out what they are, and you just go, yeah, I want one. Okay.
Yeah, basically. Like, the logic was just amazing.
Okay, yeah.
So 11-year-old me makes a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh my god! I know exactly where you're going with this as well. Like, I know exactly where to continue. I know exactly where you're going.
So 11-year-old me makes a PowerPoint presentation about the history of furries. What are furries? What is a fursuit? Here are some examples of fursuit. And I, dead ass, sit my parents down in a room. I get my laptop, and I have this presentation, and I'm sat there like pitching this to them, because obviously 11-year-old me had no money. So I was like pitching it. Like, I was like, yes, I want this animal costume, and this is why. And I was so into it. I can't even remember what their reaction was.
That is incredible. See, the thing is, I would do the same for like, what is a Nintendo Wii? This is why you should buy a Wii. We can have Wii Fit, and we can like be a really, fit, exercising family. Not like, that would be like, Mum and Dad, this is why you should buy me a Nintendo Wii. Not like, Mum and Dad, buy me a fursuit. That's fun. What the fuck? That's mad to me. Like, that is crazy. And I think like the idea that, I mean, to be fair, I feel like people kind of indulge in the internet, in like internet culture at different ages. And I do think at 11 I was probably just starting to use the internet like loads, like fucking going on YouTube all the time. But I don't think I was at the level where like I was looking at subcultures. I think I was just looking at like funny cat videos on YouTube. That's crazy to me that you were like 11 and you were looking at videos, like not videos, so like looking at like furry stuff and like seeing the community. But someone that is listening to this might be like, oh yeah, well I started like on Furry Affinity when I was like 9, and I'm just like, it's just weird to me how people kind of find out about subcultures and internet cultures at different ages, and it kind of shows how. I mean, I only became a furry in like 2019, man. Like that's crazy to me. That's mad.
Yeah, no, I do kind of wish I wasn't exposed so early. I mean, for obvious reasons, you know, the unfiltered internet is maybe not the best place for an 11-year-old me. But I think the story after that was like, they said, no, you're not getting a fursuit. And then I just kind of forgot about the fandom for a few years, which is super weird. Like, I don't understand why that happened. And then like a few years later, I think I was like, oh yeah, that exists. Let me get back into that. And then the rest is
history.
History? Is it? Yeah, it's but I think it definitely was like a bit young, especially because I like tried to act older because everyone else was like, you know, like fucking 20, 30, and I was like trying to act their age, and it's just like, nah, you shouldn't have done that.
And I think especially, I mean, I think there's probably been some times when I've been in online spaces when I was that age, and I was definitely the same. Like Minecraft comes to mind. Like I used to go on like Minecraft roleplay servers when I was like fucking 12, and it was probably not a good place to be when I was like 12, because I was probably like, oh, I'm just roleplaying with like other 12-year-olds, like not weirdly, but like doing this like, it would be some like cringe fictional teen camp thing, you know, like fucking Disney Channel shit, and then I obviously would just think, oh, there's just other people my age doing this, but like in reality, it was probably some like fucking 30-year-old man that was on Minecraft with me. So it is like weird to think that. I think it's important to keep that in mind as well, I guess. I think the furry space isn't like too bad in terms of online safety, I guess. And I think in terms of a generational thing, I think obviously since, I mean, how old are you?
I'm 22. God, I had to think there.
You're so you're the same. So you're the same age as me. I feel like our generation, or like at least 2000 babies and 99 babies.
Hashtag 2000.
It was a weird hashtag 2000, man. I'm a 2000 baby too. I think it's a weird. Oh my god. I think it was a weird time for us to grow up because the internet was still getting like figured out when we were little, but the generation kind of, or people who are younger than us, they've like grown up on the internet. So one thing that I get really like weirded out about is I feel like people, I mean, I feel like minors on I mean, I don't want to go on this too much, but this is just an interesting like topic. I feel like young people on the internet are more like, I don't know, I feel like they give so much fucking information away, but I feel like, I don't know about you, since we're both from the UK, but the amount of fucking e-safety, like, internet videos I was shown in, like, middle school about, like, sharing your details online would, like, fucking be, like that would scare me shitless. I'd be like, someone can steal my identity, and I'm, like, 12, which is probably not the case. But it is just interesting to me, like, I'm still quite cautious on what I share online, but I feel like the younger generations, since they've grown up with the internet, and things are a bit more kind of like, it's just more expanded now. People are kind of more prone to give away information that they shouldn't give away. So I don't know.
I definitely like agree. Like I look back and I was like, Jesus, I should, like, there's so many things I think, like, if old me could talk to 11, 13-year-old me, I'd probably get a bit mad at young me, because like some of the stuff I did was like I was shown those informational videos at school about like, don't post pictures of yourself online and all that jazz, like, but at the end of the day, you're a teenager and just you're gonna make bad decisions, and like I've learnt my lesson. Luckily I didn't actually post anything bad. Like I was just a bit like, I think I was very innocent, and I think a lot of furries did like see that and like tried to message me, and I was so naive and I was so innocent that I was like, everyone has good intentions. And it like, I think nowadays I think the fandom's safer personally. I feel like, I think there's a lot more like not rules in place, but I think there is like people are a bit more guarded these days.
Yeah.
Which thank God. But I think back then I don't think I should have made a Fur Affinity account as early as I did. Did you use Fur Affinity?
I didn't see. This is the thing. First furry thing I made was like my Twitter when I was like 19. So, I mean, that was only like a couple of years ago. I don't think I had anything furry, like not even in secret. I made a Fur Affinity when I was a furry, but it was just, I don't know why I made it. I think I made it just because my mate told me to make it. My furry friend was like, "Oh, you should make a Fur Affinity account as well," and I never used it. And I don't think I ever have. But
I think back in the day, like before furry Twitter was a big thing, I think Fur Affinity was like the main. I mean, at least from my perspective, it was like the main social media platform for furries. But it was also like moderated by like I don't know who moderated it, but it was just it felt a bit more unmoderated than it probably should have been. But like I think nowadays things are just safer, which is good.
Good.
So everyone's happy.
Definitely, I agree.
God, it's such a dark subject.
I know. We'll move on. But I will say, like, as a side thing, I think there's definitely more that needs to be done in the community, but I feel that can be applied to any sort of subculture and community. And especially, like, I don't want to get on this topic now because I'll be fucking going off on one. But obviously, I think I recently tweeted about, like, women in the fandom and how their experiences and how their kind of trek in comparison to other people. And I'm sure you'll have your own personal stories that you obviously don't want to talk about now, which is fine. But, like, I think it's just... I think we have a lot of way to go, especially, I don't know, in the UK scene, it's big, much of a difference in the US scene of how women are treating the fandom. So even though I feel like we do have a much safer community compared to a more kind of early online one, I do think there are still steps we need to take that are in the right direction. So I'm sure you agree with me on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely better than it used to be. That's like, without a doubt, can 100% say that. So, you know, one day we'll get there, but, you know,
then again, they're like, it's just things that unfortunately happen even outside the community as well, on like club nights and stuff like that. Like, I've had this conversation with people before, it sucks. And, you know, it's awful. Anyway, that is enough of that.
Dark.
I know, so dark. Went from like being giddy at the start to like being grippy. No, don't apologize. It's fine. It's important to talk about kind of furry stuff. And I mean, also like, I don't know, I paused my audio by accident, so I'm hoping it's not out of sync, so we will see. But because of that, I'm just a bit jittery. Anyway, we'll move on to kind of like what you do, because you do furry art now. It's not your main thing though, because obviously you do like stuff outside of furry, and you also used to do YouTube. So we've got a big load of things to kind of unpack here. And I also want to talk about your fursuit as well, because it's amazing, and I have seen it in person. So go with whatever you want to start with.
Cool. I think most people online, know me from my YouTube channel, which I started when I was 15, which, oh my God, I was so young. Well, I actually started on Vine. So Vine used to have a fucking humongous furry scene. Mm-hmm. So it was, I think the people that were on Vine at the time know exactly what I'm talking about, but Vine is where every furry YouTuber of my era started. We all started on Vine. Like, Vine was amazing. The community was amazing. And I made so many friends from Vine. Like, it was just so great. Those were the best days I remember, is just Vine furries. It was so good. And then, obviously, that whole thing shut down. I don't know why. Vine was great. Like, it was really good.
I think, did the guy not like tease that he was going to make Vine 2 or some shit, and then just never did it? I swear that was the case.
We all got our hopes up, but I don't think anything ever happened. It's such a shame. It was so wholesome. I loved Vine. But yeah, then like when that shut down, we all moved to YouTube. Mm-hmm. So I started a YouTube channel because I was like, oh, I want to make more videos. So I literally did like these like stupid Q&As. Like, I watch them back now and I'm like, wow, zero effort, great job. But like people seem to like them. I don't know why. They weren't even particularly good, but people just kind of started to follow me, and I just made more YouTube videos, and then I did that for a few years and somehow ended up with like 50k subscribers, which
That's
I have no
mad.
idea.
What the hell?
I know, like, and this was all before I was 18, so I was doing all of this while I was a minor, which is, you know, fine. I mean, it was good video apparently. But yeah, I did for YouTube for ages, and it was like, it actually got me known, which was really weird. So I'd like go to Comic-Con and people would like actually recognize me from my YouTube, and I was like, this is crazy, because for the longest time it was just me in my room posting videos, and then once in the blue moon where I'd go out to cons, people would recognize me. I was like, this is what? Like, I just make videos. So I don't think I realized how big it was until that.
Because that's mad as well, because Comic-Con's not even a furry general con, and then someone's recognized you there. How did you find that? Like, because sometimes I think if I was like 16, 17 and I had a following on like a social media, I see some of these TikTok kids and like these like YouTubers that are like 16, and I'm just like, if I had that amount of eyes on me, it would be fucking, I would be absolutely like, I don't know, it'd be really, I don't know, I'll be fucking daunting. I'll find it daunting. Obviously 50,000 isn't as, you know, maybe major as something, you know, as like big as like 1 million that some young creators have on YouTube now, especially since it's grown as a platform. But I still think 50,000 when you're that age is like, that is 50,000 people that are subscribed to see my stuff. Did you ever find it a bit, what the hell?
I did find it a bit overwhelming, but the thing is, like, I don't think I ever truly grasped the scale of it, because obviously, you know, I didn't, at the time, I couldn't go to furry conventions because in Europe they're all 18 plus, and at the time I was obviously under 18, so I couldn't actually go and interact with furry, so I never understood that. But I think I had a great support system around me, so at the time, I don't know if you know Majura, but he's basically the biggest furry YouTuber that has ever existed. So people like him, like, they were really kind to me when I was you know, doing the whole YouTube thing. They would give me advice, they would help me out, and they were just like the support system of all these people that were doing it too, that were older than me, like helping me out. I just, you know, that basically gave me that support of what I should and shouldn't do, you know, because I think one of the key things was like, you know, getting cancelled. Like, that's a really big thing. And it was back then for YouTubers, like, any YouTuber could be cancelled because they voiced their shitty opinion. But, like, I felt that, like, I don't need to voice my opinion on absolutely every subject ever. So I just, like, I didn't start drama, because some people do just start drama.
It's sometimes it's like, again, this kind of goes back to, again, I don't want to get into this too much, but like this idea that there are important issues in the furry community that need to be spoken about, such as how women are treated in the fandom sometimes in community spaces. And then instead, something that is either bait that someone's like put up to be like, oh, let's see if this could cancel someone, or like, I don't know, something that just doesn't need as much like kind of uproar and attention, takes the importance away from those things that should be discussed, which are like real life important things that are bad. So I think, I get that idea of, you know, cancel culture. I do agree that if somebody has a shitty opinion and they say a shitty opinion, they should be held accountable for it, and I completely agree. But I do think sometimes people's focus on things tend to take stuff away from important issues. So, for example, there might be an art piece that has something dumb on it, or like uses, it's like someone else, let's say like someone accidentally has like a sonar that like coincidentally looks like someone else's sonar, right? Someone will put a tweet out about it and get like 2,000 likes and like loads of retweets, and they'll be like, you're a piece of shit, you've stole this person's character. And then like something about someone getting harassed at a furry convention, or something that is important, like someone being transphobic, or being not just like a horrible human being that actually affects real life things, won't get as much traction, because it's just, I just don't know, like it just, I don't know, I'm going back on myself a bit, because I do think a lot of furries are good at bringing themselves kind of to attention to those things, but I just see time and time again those things that aren't worth cancelling someone for, or aren't worth talking about. The things that are worth talking about are these things that don't get talked about enough. But yeah, that's my take on it. I feel like I'm rambling so much about
furries.
it.
No, furries like just love their drama. I don't think there's any other way to put it, but furries love drama, and furries thrive off of drama. And like, don't get me wrong, I like a bit of drama here and there, but like, I think they're really good at blowing it out of proportion. And I think like during the YouTube days, that was like, there was so much. It was like rumors and like, this guy said this thing and he said this, and like, I think it was just, it got so messy at times that I think you had to learn to just take a step back and just not get involved. Like, there was like, I think I was like, with the YouTube especially, I think I was quite mature about some things, like considering I was only about like 16. Like, I just took a step back, and every time I took a step back from like those situations, it always paid off. Like, you know, it would just blow away. So I think I don't know, it just, furries love drama. It's so complicated, but I think it's just, I don't think it's ever going to change. Like, that's, the fandom lives off of drama, and you got to learn to live with it. And I think that's such a key lesson that I think every creator has to learn in the fandom, especially, is like, just stay away. Don't get involved. It's it's not important, unless obviously it is like quite a, you know, an important subject like transphobia and all that. But like, stupid, like, your Fursona colours are really similar to this person's Fursona. Like, it's
just like get a fucking grip. Like, genuinely.
Get a life. Like, it's an imaginary dog. Like, calm down. It's just, oh my God. I could go on about this forever. But furries have never changed when it comes to drama.
I think...
Hopefully they will, but don't know.
I think artistic things are important to bring up in terms of, like, I don't know, like, tracing is important, or like somebody is genuinely stealing something that is yours or reposting that is important to bring up, because that is your work and you should fight for your work. But pulling things out your arse and being like, this person has blue stripes, I have blue stripes, is like, why is this being made? You're literally doing this so you get clout. And it's like, what is the point? Just go, dog, just go outside, man. I just can't. I just don't understand it, bro. Like,
I don't have the energy for it. Like,
this is the realest. This is the realest fucking episode I've ever had so far.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm bringing it up.
This is Jepic. This is fucking real. Both, I know. You know, it's because a lot of your stuff that you've done is based around internet audiences, in like, you know, growing up with the internet. And it's important to talk about these things.
Yeah, no, I've literally like grown up. Basically just making videos and like trying to integrate myself into the fandom so much.
So how come you stopped doing videos then? Was that just a thing of you just couldn't do it, or like in terms of time constraints? Or
I mean, it was going really good, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think it was like 2017, I don't know, around like the 2015 to 2018. That was like my peak YouTube period. And there was that one time I was on the front page of YouTube for 24 hours. It was like this Create on the Rise thing. Yeah, no, it was humongous. I think that was my like biggest thing that happened in my YouTube. I'm not going to say career because that sounds gross. But in my like,
you're such YouTube a little influencer, man. You're such a silly little influencer.
I hate that word. I hate it. Stop it. But I was the Creator on the Rise for like 24 hours, and in that 24 hours, fucking Philip DeFranco tweeted about the fact I was on the front page of YouTube.
What?
And then Drama Alert, which is run by
Keemstar? Keemstar fucking tweeted about you?
No, not. Wait, was it Keemstar?
Because Keemstar. I think there was only one time in Drama Alert where someone took over Keemstar, and he's done it for the rest of his YouTube career. So maybe it was him.
No, they did.
Raining Coyotes. On the
now
front
I remember.
page.
No, I remember. So basically, Philip DeFranco tweeted like, today's Creator on the Rise is a furry. Really interesting. Like, he didn't say if it was good or bad. He was just like, interesting. And then Scarce, I don't know if you know Scarce.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Scarce here.
All right, I watched this back the other day because I had to like refresh my brain. So then he in one of his videos was like, oh yeah, by the way, today's Creator on the Rise, like Philip DeFranco tweeted, today's Creator on the Rise is a furry. And then he in his video was like, yeah, I don't care if you're into that, I just don't want to fuck dogs. And then at the time that he made that video and that I wasn't Creator on the Rise, I was 16. So all these weirdo Scarce followers came over and they were like, you fuck dogs. And I was like, no. I'm literally a 16-year-old girl. Like, calm your tits. Like, oh my god, it was so much. Anyway.
Did you ever like do a response video or anything to like all the shit, or was it just like a kind of, was it not worth it?
No, I did do a response video, and I watched it back the other day, because I haven't watched my videos in years, and I watched them all back the other day just to kind of refresh my brain on it. And I handled it so good, considering the mental state I was in after that, and like considering my age. I handled it so maturely, and I'm like really proud of myself for doing that, because I think I disabled my comments for those 24 hours, because like obviously within the first 10 minutes, like it was just
fucking chaos, absolute chaos,
rainy chaos, haha.
Really chaos.
So I disabled my comments, and like I think lots of people were like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, like why did you disable your comments? But I think for my sanity, I think that was such a good move on my part. But yeah, like I think at the time I did handle that really well. Like I don't want to like, you know, boost my own ego, but I was like 16 at the time. I've got to remember that, and like situations like that I handled well, I think, at the time. And I'm just lucky that I had that mental strength to do that, because it could have gone really messy.
I mean, I think if I was in your situation, I would be fucking shitting myself, and I would not be able to deal with that at all. I remember when I was when I was 12, I used to have my own like cringe ass YouTube channel, and people at school obviously used to bully me because that happens all the time when you make YouTube when you're fucking 12. And somebody, I don't know who, made a like I used to be called, this is so cringe, I used to be called DJ Monkey Gaming. That's like elite name.
That's such a good
DJ
name.
Monkey Gaming. My surname used to be a monkey. I used to be called Matthew the Monkey back in the day, man. That was my like old surname.
Monkey Sona.
Monkey Sona, man.
So good.
Anyway, so someone made a website when I was like 12 and put like, it was like, genuinely made a website. I don't know how I found out about it. I think my friend Charlie sent me and went like, yo, somebody made this website. And it was like, DJ Monkey Gaming sucks. And it was like a massive hate website. And I was like, in my head now, it's hilarious, because I'm like, I'm 22 now. And I'm just like, who the fuck was I living in, like, whose head was I living in rent free to make that? It like, but when I was 12, I was like, in bits. I was really upset. So like anything online for me was like, I was just mad sensitive. And now I don't give a shit, because I've you know, grown up with the internet, and I'm like an adult now. But I feel like if I was in your situation, I would be bricking it. And I think what makes it worse is, I think luckily furry, if you Google or like YouTube search furries now, a lot of the top videos are either big creators like Anthony Padilla, or a kind of news outlet that cover furries with good research and don't have like a smear campaign against them, which I wrote about in my just a paper I did for uni on like the media representation of furries, because some outlets will just do it for the sense of this will get clicks and views. If we say not all furries are like this, then they won't get any traction because it'll just be boring. But if they're like, these people in animal suits fuck, and it's all about fetishes, then that gets some clicks, because that's quote unquote exciting to the general public that are, you know, vanilla and not queer. So it's a thing of, I don't know, but when I'm a bit of a tangent, but basically like, I think when you were making videos when you were like 16 was like the height of Leafy, as I was talking about on the last episode about what YouTubers I was watching when I was like 15, which is like the cringe right-wing pipeline shit with like Leafy is here and like Pyrocynical, who is a furry but would make furry cringe videos. And, you know, Leafy's here making furry cringe videos. It was like, I think 2015, 2016 was the height of like commentary YouTubers that would just take the piss out of furries because it would be good for the algorithm and would get them views. And it's an easy target, because at that point, I don't think there was hardly anybody in like a YouTube or internet kind of culture that weren't hated more than furries at that time. I was gonna say like that was peak, like hating on furries is cool. Mm-hmm. I'm so edgy. Like, look at these freaks dressing in animal costumes. Yeah. Like it was peak furry like bullying time. I hate using the word bullying because like it's just it was just peak like hating on furries is cool time on YouTube, which was a shame. Like nowadays it's so good. Like, I mean, it's not perfect obviously, but back then it was pretty like intense hate. So it was it takes a lot of mental energy to like
read all these hate comments that you get from literally 12-year-old people that play Minecraft, and they're like, oh my god, you're so weird. And that are probably now furries.
See, the thing is, that is exactly it. It's like, that's the furry pipeline, is I hate furries. Wait, this is actually okay. Oh, I am a furry. But I think there's two ways of looking at it in terms of socials. I think where YouTube was at in 2015, 2016 is where TikTok is at now. And
Ooh.
I think I think when it comes to furries, it's either people are accepting enough or nice enough to not really care on YouTube, or I think the community is large enough where people kind of have the support there when there are like hate comments. But I think the way that TikTok works, in the way that the algorithm is, I think it's a thing of like, it pushes for interactions, and the interactions are going to be from the people who give the hate on the furry videos. But I think it works both ways, because sometimes it does, the For You page pushes furry stuff, so furries can support furries on TikTok. I mean, I'm not a furry TikToker myself. Maybe somebody who's listening, if you're listening on the YouTube version, you can put a little comment and be like, my experience as a furry TikToker is this. But
why do they sound like that?
I don't know. I'm fucking ill. That's my voice for everything. That's my voice for everything. That's my little podcast voice.
I'm on TikTok.
I'm on TikTok. So, yeah, no, I do think that's it. I think TikTok kids are just relentless. I think people don't know boundaries on TikTok. I have the story where I used to have TikTok, and I did videos of like, I used to have a really cool uni bedroom before I graduated, and I had a CRT TV, which is like one of those box TVs with old VHS tapes. And I used to film like my VHS stuff on there and put like cool graphics on it and stuff. And it used to get a bit viral. And I had like 3,000, 4,000 followers, which in TikTok's eyes is not big at all. But for me, I was like, damn, that's like 4,000 people wanting to watch videos of like just me recording my telly. So I did a room tour because I like recently put some stuff on my wall, and I really liked the stuff on my wall. And there was like probably I don't know if I might have talked about this on the podcast before maybe, but maybe, I don't know, I feel like I have. But anyway, I just did a room tour, and there was, with TikTok, you can record clips and sync it up with the music and just do little things like here and there. And there was a 2-second clip of me showing off my outfit in the mirror, and somebody added their friend in the comments, and then the person replied saying like, I would peg them. And I was like, first of all, why the fuck would you comment on that in someone's video? Because it's just really uncomfortable. It's very weird. And then I checked their profile, and they're fucking minors as well. And I'm just like, you are weird. So I like ended up deleting TikTok for a while, because I was like, it just makes me uncomfortable that people are commenting this shit on my videos. And that's from someone who, I've only had like 3,000, 4,000 followers. I think it's just this thing of like, with TikTok, people just don't know boundaries at all. Like they just don't know what is right to say and what is okay to say, because people are just relentless on it. People take the piss out of people. People will just say like, what people are the sentence that you always see on TikTok, because I've recently just downloaded again, is people are way too open on this app. And like, it's funny to say, but it actually is true, because people are just fucking weird on it. Like, I don't know if you've got it or have any experiences on it, but that's my thing. Like, I just don't. TikTok's odd, man.
TikTok's like a fever dream. Like, it is.
Yeah.
It's the space between reality and fiction. Like, it's like, don't get me wrong. I spend so much time on TikTok. Like, yeah. I spend so much, like, I can't express like, I could go to my phone now and check like how many hours a day I spend on it, but it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But you are definitely right. Like, people don't have filters. Like, it's 2 times as bad as like YouTube was back in the day. Like, it's horribly toxic, and like, yeah. I respect any furry that has the guts to post regularly on TikTok, because like, when I do, because I use TikTok like normally, I don't use it for furry content. I just use it for like normal people stuff. But every time I see one pop up, it's usually popular, because like everyone's like, oh my god, they're so fucking weird, and like the comments just oh my god.
Because usually when I see something that's furry on my TikTok, I'm like, oh my god, furry things happen to come on my TikTok, let's go. And then I'll just check the comments, and I'm like, the only reason I'm getting this on my For You page is because people are taking the piss. Like, that is the only reason that it's on there.
Yeah, no, it's so much respect for anyone who like manages to deal with all of that. But like,
do what makes you happy. Who fucking cares, man? Some 15-year-old like calls you gay on TikTok. It's like, okay, yeah, I am, and like, just fucking do whatever you want, man. Like, it just doesn't matter. I don't know. I've always been a thingy of that. But at the same time, I understand how difficult it is sometimes to not kind of listen to that side, especially when you've got a big following. And that's what I was talking about before, where like there'll be creators that, you know, I mean, I think it goes for celebrities as well. Like, I would be freaked the fuck out if I kept getting people like saying weird things about me on the internet. Like, I just couldn't. I just don't think I would be able to handle it. And that's why I kind of like having a small audience of people that, you know, indulge in things. But I don't know. Maybe it's just food for thought. We're on 44 minutes. Hey, this is gonna be an extra long podcast. I've fucking decided.
So sorry.
No, I do not apologize. I've decided it's gonna be a longer podcast episode. So let's talk about it. There's two things I want to talk about before we move on, and that is kind of three things. Where you're at now in terms of furry stuff, your fursuit, when you got it in you know, like how you found it, and convention experience are the three things.
Fab.
So whatever you want to start with, and we can just do a quick fire.
I think like lots of people ask me about like the YouTube, like why I stopped.
Yeah.
And like I always meant to make a video about it. Like I've always in the back of my head like meant to make a video, but this has been like how many years? 5 years maybe? I don't know. I'm not good at maths, as we found out, but I've been meaning to make a video for so long about why I stopped YouTube, and I think the easiest explanation is I basically stopped at the time when my GCSEs started, because, you know, doing furry YouTube and also doing school it's a balance, and it is a difficult balance, and like I struggled at school, so I ended up just not it wasn't like a big decision I made to stop. It's just basically I ran out of time, and I had to focus on school, and then I was like, oh, I'll do it after my GCSEs, and then my A levels came, and then like that came, and like just it was education is the reason I stopped. It's like I had to focus on real life. Like lots of furries make being furry their life, and that's fine, like that you do you know, but for me being furry was a hobby, and I just made the decision like my real life is more important right now than this dog costume. So I just made that decision like I'm going to prioritize this, and it just from there A levels and then uni, and then like I've now graduated. It's like
it's crazy. Time flies. Did you ever find that frustrating? Did you ever want to continue it like properly, or did you ever think you wanted to continue it properly, or were you more like, I think the way I want to pursue things in terms of career? I mean, because we both did, me and Jess both did film at uni, so we both have a filmmaking background of things. So did you ever feel like that YouTube stuff contributed to what you wanted to do as a career, or did you always feel like you wanted your way in the industry or go into further education differently?
Oh my god, the 100% the YouTube thing absolutely influenced the fact I studied film. Like that is, I'm not even gonna like, no, 100% that is why I studied the degree I studied, is because I did furry YouTube, which now that I look back is pretty fucking wild. Like it's just so weird to look at, and because I think I actually used the furry YouTube thing on my personal statement that you do to get into uni, because I was like, when I've like, you got your strengths, your weaknesses, if I put in my CV that I ran a YouTube channel that has like 50k subscribers, unis are going to be like, yo, we want that. And so I was like, I'm good at making videos, as I can see from my YouTube, let me study that. So I thought to myself, oh my god, perfect, I can study and then I can make YouTube videos again, because A levels are over and I'll be at uni and I'll be away from my parents, and I can like do what I want, and I can make more YouTube videos. But it just never quite happened. Like your priorities shift, and like in uni your priority is making friends and being social, and I didn't really want my flatmates to see me in a dog costume like filming videos in my room. So it just never happened. Real life always comes first for me, and at the time I just wanted, you want to make the most of being at uni.
Definitely.
You want to be making the most of your early 20s. Like I lost the passion. Like I had the channel was there, but I just lost the passion. And if I did continue to force myself to make these videos, the quality would have gone downhill, and like everything would have gone downhill. People would have stopped watching. It would have just been so sad. Yeah. So I'm glad I stopped when I kind of lost the passion instead of trying to force myself to do it.
Yeah. Because it's not, you just got to do what you enjoy doing, you know. It's not fun. I mean, I didn't do the podcast for a bit because I was just like, I know I'm not going to enjoy it. It's just going to give me stress. I want to do it when I can fully commit to it and be passionate and be happy with what I'm bringing out. And that's where I'm at now since I've graduated. So I understand that, definitely.
So, yeah, no, you just kind of lose the passion. And I just, you know, I don't think you should force yourself to do something that you're not really into. I mean, you can, but like for me, it wasn't enough to return to YouTube. Like now I'm like, ooh, actually, you know, maybe I will. And I'm really like the idea of it is really exciting to me. And like I've gone to conventions now, and there's people there like at Confuzzled that were like, oh my god, I used to watch you when I was 15, and like they're the same age as me now, but then back when I was making videos, they were like, yeah, so this was crazy. At the last Confuzzled I went to, someone came up to me and they were like, yeah, I used to watch your videos all the time, like, you know, I was 15, and like at the time, like all the YouTubers, the furry YouTubers were like 20 something, but you were the only furry YouTuber that was the same age. And I think that's another big reason why it did so well, is that there were a lot of furry creators that were like adults, but there weren't many that were like was a voice for the younger furries in the fandom, because obviously younger furries get such a bad rep. They used to, they still do. And I think at the time a lot of people were really glad that there was someone to like represent them. I mean, oh my god, saying I represent younger furries is such a fucking like
you part the furry council, bro.
I sound like such like very so MP. Egotistical, but
no, but like, I get you.
People have said this to me over and over, like, you know, you were one of the only young furry creators. And it was really nice to like, it was relatable, I think, because lots of the videos I made were like how to tell your parents you're a furry, or how to like decide what fursuit to get, like really like, you know, that it was aimed at people my age. Which the reason I started is because there were other YouTubers before me that were my age too that made videos, and I was like, yo, I'm not the only one. So that's why I started, because other people did it, and then like so on and so on, you know, like I've gone on a tangent.
No,
what were we talking about?
We talking about I don't even know at this point.
I'm lost.
I know. Well, we was talking about where you're at now, because you're just doing art and stuff, aren't you? And you're just chilling. But then you're doing kind of sea life experience kind of stuff. We'll have to go with this. It's fucking 52 minutes, bro. Go.
Okay. So went to uni because I studied film because I was a YouTuber. I was like, I can study film. Well, I actually wanted to study media, and I did for the first year, and then I switched to film. I'm not a film buff in any sense. Like, I just like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, no, because the thing is, I'm a film student, but I've watched fuck all films, so...
No, that's the thing. I studied media because I like photography, I like drawing, I like graphic design, I like, you know, any sort of media I like to make and also to watch. So I wanted to study media, which then ended up being film because of university things. So that's so weird that I started studying film because of being a furry YouTuber. And then because I had that experience in social media, when it came time to graduate, I was like, social media is a huge industry at the minute. And I have the experience, I have the degree. Let me apply to some like social media marketing jobs. And then, you know, I graduated a year ago, and now I'm the social media manager of the National Aquarium, which is fucking
crazy. That's
crazy.
So cool. Because I've seen your stuff, because you share it on your Instagram, because obviously I've got your personal Instagram, and I love it, because it's like, you got like, don't know, you just the way you use the footage and like some of the like creatures, the little fucking starfish and shit. I sound like an absolute like dumbass, but I'm being genuine. I'll be like, la starfish, when I see it on my Instagram. No, it is super, super cool. And sometimes you have drone shots as well, I'm pretty sure I've seen.
Oh, I didn't do those. I wish I did those. But the reason that it's just crazy to me that I think now the reason I have the job I have and the job I love so much is because I was a furry YouTuber. That's why I am where I am today, which is, to me, it's fucking wild.
That is crazy though.
Like, I just can't believe it.
I feel like I'm the same though, because loads of people have this thing of like, when did you stop being passionate about film? And I feel like it was when I started making YouTube videos when I was like 16. I used to make these like silly little vlogs of like me and my mates like just dicking about in my hometown. And I think that's what made me realize like I wanted to make films and I wanted to do things that were creative, like kind of outlets of video and audio and just making and telling stories through a visual kind of art. So yeah, I get you though. Even though it is like in simplest forms, it's like I did this degree because of furry YouTube. I'd understand it as well because I feel like I did the same thing, but I did a film degree because of stupid vlogs I made with my friends. So people find their creative ways differently. Maybe if I was a furry earlier on in my life, I would have done the same as you. So,
yeah, no, I think being a furry, like, while it is a hobby, and like I still do consider it a hobby, I think it is definitely a creative gateway into things that happen in real life. Yeah. So I don't think you can ever completely take it for granted. Like, you know, no skill you ever learn goes to waste. Like, you know, if you're an artist, a furry artist, you're still an artist. You know, if you make furry videos, you're still a videographer. Like, it's just a subcategory, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think people take furries for granted sometimes. It's like, it's still real life. Like, these are still valuable skills and media that you can't just, like, overlook, you know?
I think the way I'm looking at my own creative process now is that I want to make stuff that is intertwined with my furry side and my furry kind of hobbies, because that is a part of my creative process and it's a part of my passion on a creative side. And I do have a lot of things in mind that I want to do, but obviously it's going to take time to do those. And I'm not going to spoil what I've got in my head because it's like, I don't know. I've probably talked to you about it anyway, to be honest, but like I just have loads of ideas for creative stuff that I want to do that is intertwined with furry, like the podcasts and stuff. And I mean, going back to what you were saying about your personal statement as well, I sometimes, when like job applications are like, you need to show that you've got experience with like Adobe Audition, and I'll be there like, that's what I edit the podcast on. So I'll be like, oh, well, I edit my own podcast. But then I'm worried they're going to be like, what's the podcast? And I'll be like,
that honestly, oh my God, that is like the most dreaded question I have ever had in my life.
And I mean, the thing is, I don't give a shit what people think about me in terms of furry stuff. But my issue is that if it comes between me and getting a job, I don't really want to work for somewhere that like judges me based on furry stuff. But that might be just based on misinformation or not knowing a lot about it. If I say furry podcast and they Google furry and the first news article is fetish, it's like, well, I've just lost my opportunity of getting a job. And as a grad student, I just can't afford that right now. I just need a fucking job. But anyway, that you understand my frustration there, which feels nice. Cause, literally.
Like, you're trying to be like, I run a podcast, and then they like, or like, I run a YouTube, and it's like, oh, what's it about? And oh my God, the amount of times I've been asked that in interviews by my co-workers, like by my boss, is, oh my God. And there's like no easy way. Like, I'm not ashamed in any way to like that I'm a furry, but it's just explaining it is the most awkward process as an adult. Like, in uni, I was like, oh yeah, I dress up as an animal, like, fuck yeah. But in a professional environment, to like explain it is so awkward. And my fucking co-worker, I don't know how, she found my YouTube channel. I don't know how, but she found it. And I literally, like, the day we were at work, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to have a YouTube channel. And literally like 2 seconds later, she found it. I was, oh my God. I think it was the worst day of my life. I was literally like, please close it. Like, and I'm never serious with any of them. And I was like, seriously, like, please close it. And like, as soon as I went home that day, I unlisted about like 95% of my videos.
That's mad.
But I mean, it's not the fact I was a furry. I mean, yeah, it totally was. But it was more the fact that at the time I was 15. And
you've changed the person a lot more now. You know, and I feel like I'd be the same. Like, it's kind of like archiving Instagram posts, maybe not as monumental as a YouTube video, but I feel like I archive posts of when I was 16 that I'm like, I do not like, not how I look, but I mean, they're memories, but it's just like, I've changed as a person, and I don't really like this photo of myself being on it'll be like a dumb photo of me in high school or something, and I'll just be like, I don't know, it just doesn't fit who I am anymore.
Yeah.
And it's the same as a creator. There might be some things that you've made that you're like, I don't want this to represent who I am, especially if it's a good few years old, and you're like, I can make something better that I want to, represent me instead. So
yeah, no, that's why most of my videos are now unlisted, is just because, like, it's not because for any other reason other than they just don't represent who I am anymore. And I've changed so much, like, between the age of 15 and 22. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Like 7 years, man. 7
yeah,
years.
so it just doesn't represent me. So I was like,
Yeah.
there's no need for them to be on the internet anymore. Like, it's time for them to go. It's not who I am. And, like, that's okay. Like, you grow as a person, and, like, I'd like people to remember me in their heads and not through videos of me when I was 15, But, like, I think you just kind of, like, you grow and you change, and that's cool. And, like, I want to make videos again. I do. And, maybe they'll be worse than they used to be, because, you have a lot more energy when you're 15 than you do when you're, like, 22. Yeah. But, yeah, I think it's okay to just, like, start fresh. It's kind of nice.
I think that's a nice way to round it off. I think it's a nice round off. Even though I want to keep talking about stuff, but it's an hour. We're on an hour. We talk about food stuff.
Sorry.
You know how much I usually delegate for this section, Jess? I delegate like 30 to 35 minutes, man.
Oh, I just have too much banter.
But
luckily, have too much banter.
No, you have too much crack, man. You have too much fucking. So it's fine. I think it's fine because luckily for the choice this week, we'll talk about the album, which is "Pools To Bathe In" by the Japanese House. So I was gonna say, I think it's going to work with the timings, because this is like the first time on the podcast we've had like an EP. So this is only like a 4-track EP. It's like 15 minutes long. So we could probably have like 5 minutes on this and then talk about Truman Show. I've just spoiled it. I just spoiled the film choice.
You fucking spoiled it. Oh my God.
Well, to be fair, it'll be in the description. But
also, I just got I'm off topic. I'm seeing do you know Kloof Suits?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing her tonight. She's just messaged me. She's like, I'm on my way over, so you might have a fucking Kloof Suits just
oh my God, crazy
pop up on the podcast.
Yeah. I've got a Kloof Suits tote bag. I bought a Kloof Suits tote bag at CFC. So
oh my God, yeah. She's so talented. Anyway, we need to continue. Oh my God.
Continue. Okay, so Pools To Bathe In is, I listened to it a few times since it's a small thing. It's a small EP. I really liked it, and I think I've had the Japanese House recommended to me before by my friend Joe. Shout out Joe. And he was like, they're really good. I think he's like a massive fan of Mitsuki as well, so it's like his kind of style. The biggest thing that struck out for me, before you get on to, I just want to get this off my chest, because it's like literally every single track on this EP made me feel like this. Before I'm like, what made you choose it? It reminded me so heavily of, like, even though this came out before this album, it reminded me so much of the style of the 1975. Like, on a sense of, like, do you know that I Like It When You Sleep album? The one that's, like, white? Yeah. It reminded me so much of how that album is, like, sounds. Even though this came out before that, because this came out in 2015. That came out in 2016.
Super interesting that you say that, because they actually, I think what's it called when a support band, when they go so they were a support band for the 1975.
Ah, no way.
So I think so. Like, if someone Googles this and I'm not right, please don't, like, kill me. But
God.
Like, I'm fairly sure they were a support band for the 1975. Yeah. I'm not sure what year that was, but that is basically the reason I discovered them, is they were like, YouTube recommendations. I was listening to 1975 and it popped up.
That's so cool.
So I'm guessing they have they have a close-ish relationship, because they went on tour together. But God, every song in that album, oh my God, just makes me feel like I'm floating. Like, yeah,
I get that. You like the SpongeBob, the SpongeBob.
Oh my God, yeah, the meme, the floating meme.
Yeah, that's me when I listen to like Life of Pablo by Kanye, like literally all the time. I send that all the time. Good. I fucking love it. So what made you want to choose this EP in particular? Like, what stands out to you? Obviously, you've just said that every track makes you ascend. Why is that the case?
Well, I found the album years and years ago, so many years ago, and I listened to it through so many like heartbreaks and so many like times in my life where I was going through like emotions, and I found no other songs could describe the way I felt like those songs did. Like, it wasn't even the lyrics. It was just, when you just feel like you hear a song and it's like, damn, like that's what my head sounds like at the minute.
Yeah.
And like, again, not because of the lyrics, but just because of the sounds and
the
like
sound of it, yeah.
the way it makes you feel. And like, it's just one of those albums I can always go back to and I'll always listen to and I'll always be like, damn, that is what my head sounds like, It's really, oh my God, it's so deep.
No. I feel exactly the same way with music. I find when it comes to media in general, stuff that I can relate to the most or kind of or like apply to my own issues and problems and emotions in my life, I have the strongest connection to. I think for me, that's like me. This is like the typical skater boy fucking reply. And everybody, since I've said that sentence, everyone's going to know what I'm about to say. But like, that is me with like Blonde by Frank Ocean. Like, that is like literally how I feel. Like the way that album sounds and the way that it's kind of structured kind of perfectly represents when I listen to that. I'm like, this is how I'm feeling right now. Like, this is exactly, it's just, and it makes me ascend. It's like a fucking amazing record. But we're not here to talk about Blonde. We're not here to talk about Blonde, but that I understand why you feel like that in a way. And I feel like all the tracks on the EP have like a solid like similar style and sound. And it's nice for an EP to have that, I think, because, it's an extended play. It's a smaller kind of thing compared to an LP. And if you had a similar style for a whole album, it might get a bit too stale. But I think this is a perfect length to kind of explore the kind of sound that they have in a kind of smaller art form. I like the album cover as well. I really like the album cover.
Love it.
It's lovely.
Love it. It's so...
I love blocky kind of stuff. It's, I don't know.
I just like, love it. It's so, the whole thing is just one aesthetic dream.
Yeah.
Like, I bloody love them. Also, did you know the lead singer is actually a girl? I for years thought it was a guy, but turns out I'm gonna look up if they are in fact identify as a girl, because last time I checked they did. It might have changed, but they basically use so many effects that I don't know how they do it. I think they must do like a pitch shift or something.
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. There's a lot of glitchy like kind of production on this thing in terms of percussion and the vocals. Like, there's a lot of kind of stuff like that on it. Yeah,
so I was a bit shocked when I found out, because I always just thought it was like a guy singing. Mm-hmm. But like the lead singer, their voice is just the emotion. Oh, like, I could talk about this forever, but basically this album makes me feel like just, I don't know, just so nice, dreamy. It's nice. Like, even their new music is still just so, what's the word? Ethereal? Is that a word? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think, well, we can talk about all four of the tracks, since there's only four of them. We'll quickfire it since we've been talking loads. But I want to give you as much time as you want to talk about stuff, because these are your choices and your passions in terms of film and album. So you talk for as long as you want, and I'll just edit it down, man. People can have a longer episode. It's fine. Anyway,
I just love this album. It's just, I love it. Like, I feel it. It's just, oh my God, I sound like such a fucking soppy bitch, but it's what it feels like to be in love, and it's what it feels like to be alone, and it's what it feels like to lose someone. And it's just probably the way I probably feel that way because I listened to all of these songs while I was going through all of those situations, and in my brain each song is connected to different moments in my life.
Yeah, that's exactly. See, I fucking, again, this is exactly what I'm like with Blonde. Like, it's exactly what I'm like with Blonde. I've listened to Blonde during breakups. I listen to Blondes when I've started like fancying someone. I started listening to Blonde when I'm like stressed or when I'm having a fucking breakdown. It's like, it's just crazy how much music helps us through these things and how much we associate music with certain memories and feelings. Because it's just like, how can somebody else's art form that was probably created from their emotions connect with mine in this way? And it's just weird to think about.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Let's go through the tracks. So the opening track I've got here on my little notepad, that there's a lovely mix of guitar and glitchy percussion. Is the opening track's called Pools To Bathe In, isn't it? So
it's just such a combination of noises, not particularly instruments, but just noises that somehow sound so good together.
I
It's
think
just hard.
it's so good. I think my favorite on the EP was Teeth. I think that was my favorite. Like, I love the guitar progressions. The guitar progressions on Teeth were like so good. And like there's like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but there's just like little tidbits of like guitar kind of chords in it, and it was just so good. In the I feel like what's really good with the electronic vocal stuff is the harmonization of them as well. That is like the solid, like, I love that, and it just all fits together. Like, it all fits. It's so good. I loved it a lot. I feel like I feel bad for people who listen to the podcast. Like, is there ever going to be something that you just don't like? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm easy to please. Like, once we get into the film, I'm gonna suck it off because I absolutely fucking loved it. But you know, it's just, I just like listening and watching stuff. I'm a hard person to just dislike. I think the only time I've disliked something on the podcast is the live action Lion King, which I had a debate over, which was a good episode. But
did someone select that?
Yes, and I had a debate, and they said that the live action one was better than the art style one.
Gross. No,
it was not good. It was not. But you know, I respect their opinion. We gotta respect opinions on the podcast. You know,
respect the opinion, but
so
you're wrong.
You know, back to the EP. So Still is the track that's like the big one. Like, that's got 25 mil plays compared to 8 mil, 7 mil, 4 mil.
I was gonna say, Still is like the one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't. When it comes to the album, I can't talk about, you know, like all like music terminology, because music is the one form of media I just have no talent in and have no skill in or anything. Like, I know nothing about the terminology or the production or anything.
Yeah, all I know is a furry band. You should make a furry band.
All I know about this album is that it makes my brain feel nice. That's why I like it.
Brain
be
chill, yeah.
It makes my brain go brr, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I know nothing about like the real process behind it all. I just know that it's makes me happy. It makes me warm and fuzzy on the inside, you know?
Well, I've got here for my thingy on Still, and my notes is a bit ironic because of the name, but I can imagine this being a road trip song, late night car drive vibes.
Interesting.
That's my thing. Even though it's called Still, I can just imagine listening to this whilst driving in a car. So yeah, interesting stuff.
I would, oh my god, I can't believe, I would listen to it while floating in water, or Pools To Bathe In. Oh, get it? Do you get it? Because the album's called Pools To.
Right, okay, so that was the podcast, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thanks. Yeah, bye. And we'll close off talking about Sister. So, I mean, with Sister, again, it's just that I think every single track has the harmonizing vocal stuff, and you were saying that the way that they produce their vocals is just, it's just so good. It just fits the style that they have, and there's like a slight synth in the background, and it all builds up, and then it fits as a closer track of starting off quiet and then building up for like one big final ending to kind of close off the EP, and it's just really nice. I just really, really like it.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
All of the emotions are good. So, to me, that is good music. I know nothing about music. Can you tell?
Oh, bless you.
I love music. Like, I listen to it so much, but I know nothing about it.
But sometimes it's nice to just enjoy things on a surface level. It's like, sometimes I feel like being a pretentious prick when I watch a film, but sometimes I sit there and I'm like, oh, I loved it when like Scrimblow killed Blimblow. It was like such a really fucking good like scene. But then someone's like, it's like there's people like that in fucking film school, like on my degree.
God.
So we're going to talk about this to round off the conversation. Unless, is there anything else you want to say about that?
No. I just like,
you just love it.
Good songs.
Good songs. I feel like I just fucking talked about what I liked on it, bless you. Anyway. So this is a bit of an anecdote of this thing about like people at film school, they come from different areas. So I felt when I first started my degree, I felt very inferior compared to everybody else because I came from being passionate about a very much heavily practical side of filmmaking. I wasn't very good at writing. I actually dropped out of it A-levels, so I got kicked out because I did really shit and I just didn't turn up to anything. and then I did a college course and worked really hard and somehow got into uni. And I went to I don't know, I don't want to suck myself off, but I went to a uni that's it's like a Russell Group uni, so there's a lot of A-level kind of, or people from A-level backgrounds, and we used to sit there in like lectures, and I would sit there and not know what's going on, and then someone would be like, yeah, so like or like, it was mostly seminars. I was sitting in a seminar and someone would be like, the Marxist representation of Scrimblow, and I'd be like, oh, I fucking don't know. Like, I just think it's cool. I think film's cool, man. And I would like, to be fair, shout out to Anderson, but me and my, my ex-flatmate, because we've, graduated now, me and Anderson would just sit in seminars and just be like, yeah, that scene was sick. That scene was epic. And then, like, everybody else would talk about, like, the fucking, I don't know, Marxism bollocks or whatever. And, like, I mean, it's stuff that someone will be laughing at this podcast because I don't understand Marxism. But, like, it's just, I'm just not very smart academically. And sometimes it was annoying when I wanted to talk about films because someone always had to like talk about representation shit or applying a certain lens to it, and I'm just like, why are we doing this? But then again, when I'm talking about my favorite films, I'm like, oh yeah, so if you look at this from a queer lens or like a neurodivergent lens, so like that's what I wrote my dissertation on. So I ended up becoming a pretentious prick at uni. So yeah, there you go. That was a little anecdote for you.
As a fellow film student, I totally agree that I didn't study film for the meaning behind things. I purely studied it because I was like, I like camera, I like video, I like to go make video. That was it.
I like to make art, man.
Exactly.
That's what I want to do.
I didn't want to like. It's just. I like, obviously part of film is looking into it and the meanings behind things, and like that is the whole point to film apparently. But to me it's the same with music. Like, I like what I like. I don't know why I like it. I just like it. Like, I rewatched Twilight the other day and someone was like, oh, it's such a bad film, and I was like, I don't care. Handsome vampire man,
That's so weird. So I was just talking about this with Jade, my girlfriend. Last night her friend Leah made her watch Twilight, and me and Jade both fucking hate Twilight.
Nah.
I think it's so shit, man. It's so shit. I'm proving your point here, but like, it doesn't matter if you like shit films, but I'm just saying Twilight is bollocks, man. It sucks. It fucking sucks.
Yes, like, okay, the film does suck, and like the production is awful, and like the CGI is awful, and like it's all awful, but it makes me feel like, I don't know, it just makes me feel good. And if
that's like me with Spy Kids.
If a piece of media, no matter how good or bad, makes me feel somewhat good or positive, then I'm all about that. Like, I don't care about any of the deep stuff. Like, if it's good and makes my brain happy, I will watch it. I will listen to it.
Yeah, liking things on a surface level, guys, is actually fun. It's like, don't be a Letterboxd consumer once in a while and just like enjoy something. To be fair, I'm such a little Letterboxd nerd, but I don't know. I feel like, unironically, I feel like it's like me with Spy Kids. Like, it's such a shit kids film, but I'm like, this fucking rocks. It's like Robert Rodriguez and his like directing style is just so like in your face, dumb, goofy shit, just fun filmmaking stuff. Like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, that shit's dumb as fuck, but it's just so fun. Like, it's enjoyable because it's fun and goofy. But
yeah, no, like, that's why I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about on the podcast about like the album or the film, because like I don't know the theory or like in-depth detail about either. It just, I like them.
Well,
and if I like them, I will talk about them forever, as we can tell.
Well, we're on 1 hour and 20 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
My friends are like, where are you? Apologizing. So we've got. Let's have 10 minutes of talking about the film choice to round off the podcast, which is The Truman Show, directed by Peter Weir or Weir. People are gonna hate me for that shit, but So I watched this. I've never watched this fully through. I think it was on like a watching list at uni for me, and I never finished it. And it was on Netflix for ages, but I don't think I'd ever fully finished it. But I obviously knew what the premise was, and everyone like loves it, like loves this film. Like, a lot of my friends said I said I was watching it for this week, the podcast. I said that I would love it, and I did. Like, on a level of like, it might be out of all the podcast episodes, how many we had now? 15 episodes. It's in like my top 3. Like top 3 of episodes. Yeah, top 3 films that have been chosen. To be fair, one of the podcast films that was chosen, Punch Drunk Love, is now my favorite film of all time. So,
Whoa.
you know, fairies have good taste apparently. Like, it's crazy.
That is really interesting.
I have a fuck ton of notes here of things that I loved about it. And we've got 10 minutes to get through this. I mean, we don't have exactly 10 minutes, but, you know, it would be nice to round off in, an hour and a half. But before I get into my stuff, why did you choose it? Because originally you chose How to Train Your Dragon. But obviously we had that in the second episode of the first season, so I couldn't do it again. So what made you pick The Truman Show?
I think since the whole podcast is about like film and music, I was like, I might as well choose a film that's like actually a good film and not just one that is like, you know, somewhat furry and got animals in it and animated. You know, I was like, I'll choose like an actual good film. And I think Truman Show is one of like the first films that really got me like thinking about what, you know, the story behind film. Like, I know we just said I don't care about like the stories behind films and everything, like the deeper meanings, I don't care. I just like it because it makes my brain happy. But like, this is one of those films that like actually changed my mind about that a little bit, because I think I watched one of those, you know, those YouTube and words
the video essay kind of things.
Yeah, I watched a video essay on the Truman Show because I think someone sent it to me after we watched it, and like I actually sat down and watched it, and I was just like in shock about how much thought was put into all of these different things and all of this stuff I never picked up on. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, this is, and I'd never heard of it. Like, the reason I saw it is because I think we went on a school trip and they just took us to some old cinema somewhere and just kind of like put us in the cinema for an hour or two just to like keep us occupied. And they didn't like, I had never heard of it before this. And really? I'd never, like, I didn't even know what we were going to watch. They didn't even tell us. Like, I had no idea what it was at all. Never heard of it. And they just, like, sat us down in the cinema and we started watching it. And, you know, like, it was, I think that was the best possible way to watch it because we didn't know it was a TV show. Yeah. Because we were watching it and we didn't know what the film was about. So we were kind of discovering it as Truman throughout the film, you know, kind of picks up on these little things. So it was so interesting being just as unaware as he was. Yeah. But obviously we find out before him that he is in a TV show. But it's just such a crazy concept. And I think especially Jim Carrey. Yeah, Jim Carrey. You know, he usually plays all these funny characters. And I mean, he's still a bit goofy in this film, but he's actually like, I think for as an acting point of view, like this is such an interesting role for him to be playing because there are such serious points in it. Yeah. And like, you don't see that side of him very often in films. And it was just really fascinating to see him play someone else. I think
the serious side of Jim Carrey is like just as good as the goofy side. Have you seen Eternal 100%. Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Yeah. Like
he's so good in that. Like,
I really hate how they started casting him as like the same goofy guy instead of these amazing films that he's been in.
You know, a fun fact about that fucking film is, sorry to cut you off, and this is, I feel really bad for cutting you off now. It's such a dumb thing to cut you off for. But no, I agree with you in terms of like, he isn't just a goofy person. Like, he has range. He can do that goofy shit because he has range. But this fun fact about Eternal Sunshine, I don't know when the last time it was that you watched it, but you know he jacks off to fairy porn in that film?
No.
Yeah, he does. No, he does. He does. You know what he does? There's a scene. I would say I would put it on the I would say I put on the YouTube version, but I don't want I don't want to get taken down. But like, it's because it's basically going through embarrassing parts in his life. In like, there's like a scene where he's like doing the deed, and his mum walks in on him, and it's to like a furry porn comic. I'm not taking the piss here. Like, not taking the piss. That's
crazy.
Yeah, because I watched it and I was like, what the fuck? And then I messaged my flatmates. I was like, no one told me that this happened in the film. And then they were like, lol, yeah, we just didn't want to tell you because I thought it'd be a surprise. I was like, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
Anyway, back to Truman Show. But I thought it was an interesting tidbit that's linked to furry. I still think like the way that he's goofy works with this film though, where it plays on this idea of like he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's going insane. Like he's like, imagine finding out that your entire life is fake, and I would be reacting the same way as Jim Carrey would, like without the like normal goofiness that he's known for. It's like essentially his like goofiness in this film is like justified. Like it's just yeah.
His goofiness. I think they use his goofiness as a way to show his insanity, which is so perfect. Like he's going insane. Like everyone's telling him he's crazy, and they use that humor in his acting. They use it to just to show insanity, which is just fucking amazing. Like it's incredible.
I absolutely adore the ad stuff as well. Like the advert stuff.
Oh my God.
Is so good. Like I was creased at that. I fucking loved it.
It's such an accurate representation of like modern society now. God, look at me. I sound like a film student now, don't I?
Yeah, baby. Look at that film student shit, man. Consumerism.
Consumerism, baby.
I don't know how much
capitalism.
Because I know you did media. You did media as a degree. How much of like did you have any like TV studio experience? I mean, I'm not trying to fucking quiz you with shit. It's just because in the film, I did film, like my actual degree was called like film and television production.
Oh my God, no way. Mine was literally the same degree.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I found a lot of stuff to be, in terms of as live TV or like live TV, like a lot of the studio work that was done for Truman, I was like, yeah, I've done that shit at uni. Like, it's like weird to look at because it's so meta, because it's like it's like a film. It's like a film that's being made, but you're filming a TV studio set that's fake, that's making a TV show for a guy who doesn't realize it. It's like so weird. I love it though. Like it's such a unique concept as well. Like, it came out in the late 90s, this film, maybe early 90s. So like I loved it. Like it was so good.
Yeah, it just makes you think and question things, and if a film can do that, then you got yourself a good film, I guess.
Yeah. My words to die by in terms of films that make you think is, if a film confuses you because it makes you think, but you want to return to rewatch it to understand it more, that's when it's succeeded as a piece of work. But if it confuses the viewer and they don't want to return to it because it's confused them too much, or it isn't as engaging as it was, that's when it's failed. And I think with this film, I fully want to understand it more, or like, well, not really understand it more, but I feel like it's one of those films that if you watch it again with the knowledge of things that happen, you'll watch it differently. Like in terms of extras, like all the people aren't real and stuff.
Oh yeah, totally.
And they're all extras, and like you can see, if you watch scenes back then when Truman doesn't know yet, you can see in the background these things happening where that Truman isn't aware of, that you're aware of because you're in the know more than him. And it's just an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, it's not a film, it's an experience.
It's an experience, guys. God, kind of crazy.
Gross. Listen to me. But
and I think the acting, obviously it's an interesting thing. Laura Linney, who plays his wife, she's really good in Squid and the Whale, directed by Noah Baumbach, who's like my favorite director. But I liked her character in a sense that her acting, she was purposefully doing worse acting as he got more suspicious, because obviously she's having to keep up this act of it being a real life for him. But then, he's starting to become suspicious, and she's stressing out. So her acting's becoming more kind of sporadic and not as kind of convincing because she's under stress. And it's just like, it's an interesting kind of thing to think about, that she's not doing this to act on TV anymore. She's doing it so the subject of the TV show Truman doesn't, find out. And it's just such a, I don't know, there's so much you can talk about with this film. It's crazy.
I know. I should have chosen a simpler film.
No, I'm glad you chose this film, because I don't know, I'm just really happy, because I feel like it's one of those things of like, if I didn't watch it for the podcast, I wouldn't have watched it for ages, because I'm so bad for watching films. What I loved was like the use of I don't know, like I don't know, is it called like the vignette or whatever, or like the I'm definitely
vignette.
Yeah, vignette. There you go, the vignette. Oh, Jesus Christ, bro. Anyway, so yeah, the use of that was crazy. Like, on shots that was used to distinct shots of, ones that were actual cameras that we used for the fake
the
TV show,
cameras.
or there was no vignette when it was like Truman finding out or seeing things from the perspective of the love interest that was kicked off the show. And I love the little montage of people trying to get on the show, like the guy's like hid in the present that's like, you're on TV, Truman.
No, it's so good. Like I don't know what to say. Like it's just like
I feel like I'm just bouncing on my points.
No, but like you said, there's so much you could talk about. Yeah, no, it's such an interesting film, and there's like, every part of it has been thought about, and everything has been thought about. Like it's I just don't know what to say. Like it's such a good film.
That's my point I've put like so many times on my notes, is that everything just fits. Like everything's thought about. Like obviously the homeless man, like quote unquote homeless man, that was the actor that wanted to come back and play his dad, messed up everything, and Truman thought his dad was back alive when he's actually an actor. And then the next day, it was a homeless man that just went crazy, and he got convinced of that. Then the next day, you can see on the newspaper that's held where he picks up his newspaper, there's somebody outside that in the big front page story is homeless man goes rabid in town. And it's like, because they want him to think that this is real. And, it just, everything's thought about. And I think it's a level of you have to think about things on a double, because it's like you're thinking about things in terms of making an actual film that's going to be seen by an audience. But at the same time, you have to think in the mind of Truman, in a sense that you need to think about every single possibility that this character needs to feel like this world is believable, because that's the entire story of him thinking that this is his real life. So it's like you have to think about it in both ways, in both perspectives.
Yeah. It's just brain empty,
Brain empty. I mean, we have been talking for like 90 fucking minutes. I just feel like I'm rambling about the film now. I feel bad. Are you sure?
My friends are like messaging me. They're like, hurry up. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, do you want to like round it off then? Do you want to round it off?
Yeah. Oh, how do I round this off?
Okay. You talk about Truman Show.
Yeah. No, it's just a really like, it makes you think about modern society and how much of like what we're seeing is manufactured as much as what he's seeing. Like, obviously we're not in a TV show, or are we? But how much of what we consume has been like pre-planned. It's just so deep. Like that's just it's society. It's good. Society. Like
society.
That's
That's our finishing point, is society. I've got so much more to say about this, but we will have to wrap it up because we've talked for so long. I'll just do part 2, yeah. I mean, if anybody wants a reprise of me talking about things, I've been thinking about setting some stuff up like that for specific things. But we will round it off there at 1 hour and 34 minutes. Fuck Jesus. Me. Talking for England, man. I think I thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Do you want to plug your little socials, if you have any socials that you want to plug?
Ooh, you can follow me on Twitter, rainingcoyotes. Why do I say it like an American? Weird.
Coyotes?
Coyotes. I do art. I might start YouTube again. I don't know. Maybe if the interest is there, I might.
Watch this space. Watch the space.
This, I'm not gonna lie. Doing this podcast has made me be like, yeah, I want to make stuff again.
Fuck so, yeah. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, there you go. You inspired me. So I might
oh my God,
start
so
that
inspiring.
again.
What can I say?
But like for the time being, my Twitter is definitely my most active platform. Yeah. So I do art that you can commission me, and that's it. I do art and I post pictures of stuff.
Nice.
Done.
You post pictures of cats that you find in the street.
I fucking love cats.
Yeah,
don't get me started on cats.
Cats go home.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, the @ of Jess's Twitter is the same as the name of the podcast episode, but I'll also be putting it as a link in the description of the YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. You can follow my Twitter at MattyFeelsRuff, MattyFeelsRuff. So yeah, that's my main way of contacting me. If you want to be on the show, I did close applications a bit, but I've decided to open them up again because I've had to reschedule some things around. So if you feel like you want to be on the show and you want to talk about some passions and how you became a furry and all that jazz, a link to apply to be on the show is below. You do have to be over 18, just so you know. What else? I'm trying to think. I've got a mind blank. I've got an actual mind blank.
Me too. Don't worry.
Yeah. Follow my letterboxd as well. I talk shit about films all the time. That'll be in the description too. Cool. We're done here. Thank you very much for
we
listening.
are done.
We're done. We're just done. Fully done. Thank you very much, guys, for listening, and I will see you all next time. Bye.